This is the 8-9 Combo.
This is the 8-9 Combo. I'm Brett McKay. This is Harry Jones. Hello, mate. How are you?
How's it, Brett? My father was a very wise man, is a very wise man. As he's getting older, thinking about his wisdom in even more poignant ways. As a nuclear scientist, so it's very things he says. I always think about in chemicals, but he said, just because something is good doesn't mean more of it is better. And that adage, it's just has always carried through my life because I've always been a guy who's tempted to think that no, more of it is better. And then watching the British and Irish Lions throwing too many offloads, I keep thinking about my dad again and thinking, no, Tom Curry, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Just keep the ball, recycle, go.
It's a good point. That sounds like
what are you wearing, by the way? Sorry to be
look, I'm glad you asked. This is the new Wallabies Lions series training shirt. This is the Indigenous motif. This is the one that you told me you really liked.
That's very, very handsome. Is there font on the back? I have to ask.
No, there's not. There's not. But this is the one that you said you really, really liked.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That you really, really wanted, you said.
I want that. Oh!
Another one.
I'm all giggly. You shouldn't have.
On its way to you, my friend.
Excellent. I do like the interplay between the colors. I really like that the blue with the blue.
The Indigenous design, the First Nations design, is in use throughout the series, and that's all done by Dylan Peach. It's really, really good. Like it's
wait, the actual rugby player Dylan Peach did that?
Yes, genuinely.
He doesn't look like a guy who would do that. He looks like a guy who would be lifting weights in prison.
Well, look, I'm telling you, there's a fair bit of detail in it, so I guess I know what he's off. I know what he's doing on his off season.
That's incredible. Good on you.
So there you go. Peach. So that one is heading your way.
Bless you.
Knowing what Australia Post is like, mate, hopefully you get it before the third test.
maybe I'll pick it up in Fiji on my way to Eden Park.
It could be. Here's cheers, mate. What are we giving cheers to around the rugby world this weekend?
A guy that you really love. You tend to call him spiders. In South Africa, we call him strandhond, which is the beach dog. And it combines two wonderful visual images. Great Western Cape humor to call him the beach dog, strandhond. One is that dog that runs wild on the beach and is jumping and chasing and has no quit. Yeah. And the other one is more of a figurative thing in Afrikaans, which is kind of just a guy who will battle, like sort of like the legs cut off. It's a flesh wound, Monty Python kind of skit. But here's a stat for you, which you might love. Over the decade, 50 try assists or more. Aaron Smith, Bowden Barrett, so guys you would expect because the All Blacks score tries like so much. Finn Russell and Willie LaRue. The great. It's his 100th.
The great
cap
Spiders LaRue.
This weekend against Italy from the back from 15. And there's wonderful images on South African rugby. Just go and look at them when he's a young kid getting capped.
Yes.
And now it's just great. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's been good. Good luck to him this weekend, Spiders. Do you think he'll get 101st or 102nd?
I think this might be the end. I don't know. He doesn't seem to be able to complete a normal tackle anymore. Like just actually like someone's lined up, got him for you. Even that's a little bit tough for the buddy. He's got a nice form down in the pool. So you might just want to retire.
Is he destined for the luncheon podcast circuit from here on?
Coaching, man. The guy has been coaching refs for 10 years. He's just gonna
been coaching refs, whether they want it or not. Yeah, great. Well, we've got our Spiders. Our people will get in touch with yours, and we would love to have you on at some point in 2025. We'll work on that. I give in cheers to you, mate, to passing pornography. And you mentioned Finn Russell before.
You're in Canberra, so let's be clear. What are you talking about? The capital of porn in the world.
I don't mean physically passing on actual. Yes, no, I don't mean that.
Like a disease.
Finn Russell threw a pass to Gary Ringrose on Wednesday night in the ACT Brumbies game, and when you see the head-on replay of it, Ringrose gets a little offload to Marcus Smith. Smith kicks it ahead, Ringrose scores. But the ball from Russell to Ringrose creates the gap. There was no gap there, but the ball lands in the perfect timing for Ringrose just to dart through this way. And you see it from head on. That pass is not safe for work. It was unbelievably good. And this is just the joy of watching Finn Russell play. There are a lot of number 9s in the world that should watch Finn Russell pass the ball. You can learn a lot.
So that pass gave you a little feeling at the leg, a little bit of,
the little back row,
it is interesting.
The little cock of the wrist felt something.
It looks different coming out of his hands. And I also like the double pump clutch thing he does when you guys were shooting through the line and trying to intercept everything. And also maybe what Bernie Larkham should have done is done what Rossi did and had surveillance photos to see that the fly-off was going to skip past because that's so revolutionary, Warren Gatland.
I went to the Brumbies lunch on Tuesday, and Stephen Larkham was up on stage, and he said we had to cut off training early today so we could start watering the pitch.
Funny games. This Lion series needs a little bit of that. I think some provocateur. It's a little bit too nice and kind. We'll get into that in a bit.
We welcome friend of the pod, Irish sports writer and playwright Pat McCarry in just a moment, and we're looking forward to that great rugby chat. But first, mate, can you tell the nice people why subscribing to the 8-9 will improve their appreciation of the arts?
Well, so there's only 4 things that matter in the world: art, festival.
I'm loving throwing these at you now, by the way.
Art, festival, sport, and sacred and worship. Sorry.
Yes.
And our pod combines all 4 of those. So join us, subscribe to us, follow us, adhere to us. Join us on a pilgrimage to some lost abbey in a monastery somewhere of rugby, where we will sing and chant. And maybe we'll even have Pat McCarry along there to, write it up as some sort of play. We need more. We need more arts in rugby.
There needs to be more rugby playwrights. Absolutely. If you are watching on YouTube, then just hit the red subscribe button down there in that direction. And if you're listening to us on Apple Pods or Spotify or any of the podcast platforms, then hit follow, hit subscribe, hit like, whatever it happens to be, and make sure you do not miss a moment. We're a little more than a week away from the first test between Australia and the British Irish Lions in Brisbane. And in an ideal world, both sides would be taking shape by now. But are they really? There still feels like there's a few questions remaining on both sides of the contest. And to help us answer those questions definitively-ish, it is great to welcome back to the 8-9 Combo, the man responsible for Harry's membership to the Screen Actors Guild, Irish sports writer, producer, and playwright Pat McCarry. Hello, mate. Welcome back.
How's it going? Good to see you guys.
How's it, Pat?
Yes, you too. How much? What does this membership to the SAG actually get you, Harry? Does it do you get better parking spaces at cinemas or something?
No, it just adds to your travel. It depletes the travel budget further, meaning you need to subscribe more. So it's a whole back to the circle thing. Pat, before we jump into lines, do talk a little bit about your play, which is being put on again, I think, around the second coming of Soldier Field. So tell us about that.
Does this equate to popular demand?
Yeah, it's done good. We did a sellout run in October last year, and then in February, and we Harry came along as a guest of honor. We had a big event in Limerick, 500 people at it, a sold out thing, and Harry got to kind of see his brilliant performance, or kind of experience it surrounded by a crowd as well. So it's great, and we're, because just by pure chance again, or by pure finance again, the Ireland are playing New Zealand in Soldier Field again, 9 years after that famous win. So we just thought, God, it's just kismet, isn't it? It's perfect timing to kind of put something on again. So we're doing a 4-night run in Dublin, Tralee, and Limerick. So 2 nights in Munster, 2 nights in Leinster, and nice. People up in Belfast are asking us, could we come up there as well? So saying, let's see see how this goes. And it's got a great reaction so far. So I'd do as many nights as I'd be allowed to get away with. I'd be allowed to sneak out of the house for.
Yeah, Pat's very humble, but what Pat has crafted is a really interesting rugby play.
It's a great story. It's a great story.
Players, so you'll recognize the actual players, like a Connor Murray's up there, fictitiously speaking his mind and his thoughts, but also a guy like CJ Standard, who I play, but also commemorating those who are gone. And it's poignant. It's very Irish in that way, because the past is with us. The dead are not gone, and it strings together what now we think is kind of normal for Ireland to beat the All Blacks, but at the time it was ridiculously new. And it's really great fun, and it's spellbinding actually. So anyone who's in there, I'm going to come up again to Ireland and check it out again, and it's a really great time to be around rugby, folks.
Yeah, no, good stuff. I hope it all goes very well, mate, and that definitely sounds like it is popular demand. So, mate, good luck to you. Good luck to you.
Cheers, Brett.
Lions, mate. Lions. Let's get into that. It's been great. The ACT Brumbies gave the Lions the sternest test of the tour in Australia so far, going down 36-24. There was... it was a close run thing where the Lions have 3 disallowed tries in the end. Some Herculean efforts in holding up the ball. Andy Muirhead, I think, was responsible for 2 of the 3, I think. It was a really, really enjoyable game. The contest was great. 2 teams just really, really looking forward to ripping in. And it was just made for a fantastic occasion. It was such a good night of rugby.
Yeah, it's been great to kind of just go back and, like, I was even watching some of the Brumbies game from 2001. Like, you go back and you watch all these games that, like, you have half-formed memories of, and you kind of just see the stick that was going on with Austin Healy and Justin Harrison and kind of... and then you go back and you kind of think that they beat them last time out. So this was the big test again, and they really put it up to them, and some impressive performances again. And they, again, I think it's become the narrative, like, where the line out was struggling in the Argentina game, then we're starting to worry about the scrum, then you think you've got them sorted, and then it's like spinning plates. Like, now the breakdown is something that everybody's talking about. So Charlie Gamble kind of messed us all up. Like, so this is the thing we're all having sleepless nights about.
Yeah, and Rory Scott was really productive, Harry, for the first hour, and then Luke Reimer comes on at the same time. Josh Vanderfleer was unleashed, and those two just went at it like George Smith v. McCaw back in the day. It was just nuts. It was like genuinely great to watch. Just really, really strong on ball pilferers.
Yeah, I always thought that every country has a particular position or couple maybe that really fit their DNA. And open siders in Australia, they evoke so many memories that can sort of take an undermanned or not favored Wallaby side or Australian side and overcome the odds with, dogged, resilient, sort of the digger, that kind of sapper guy kind of in the war wars or something, just kind of digging in. And it's not sexy sometimes, but it's absolutely effective because it can take incredible stats of line breaks. Once again, the Lions had 15 entries. They're getting 15 entries to the 22 line breaks, plenty, gaudy stats. But it doesn't really matter if you're running into these places in about 6 or 7 phases, somebody clamps on or slows it or mucks it up or barges it. And it's a worry because the turnover ratio between, has gone from +3 to +1 to now to -11 for the Waratahs, -6 against the Brumbies. Yeah. By the way, Brett, Tars were only 11 points loss in year 12. Just from my New South Wales fans who hate me so much. So, Pat, my question is around that. Is it's pell-mell, hell for leather. The Lions are launching so many raids, so many loops, so many around the corners, getting to the outside. Why not just play through? Just bash and stick and go. What is this fixation on having 237 passes?
It's because it's interesting. Like, a lot of the turnovers where guys making line breaks, and then they're getting isolated on the ground and kind of getting turned over. Like, so Like, and that's happened a few times now as well. Like where somebody makes a brilliant, like even Gibson Park did a snipe and there was no one there backing him up inside the 22 and they got turned over. Like, so, yeah, like if you know you're going to do that, why are you not backing them up? Which it's a bit of a strange one. But I think the only time we've seen Bundy Aki sometimes just kind of turn it on and go straight at people, and it's had success. But you would say he's probably not doing it enough. Like, and are they holding something back, for the test series? That's the only thing you can kind of think of, because when they do seem to, isn't the phrase almost because of Maro Itoje said it, like, go through the front door? Like, like everybody's wondering, why are you not going through the front door?
When?
Like, so the front door is open. Like, it's going to be those beaded curtains. Like, why are you not going through it? Like, yeah.
On the topic of holding back, Andy Farrell was asked post match. Some of the UK guys said, how much are you holding back? And he said, he sort of laughed a bit. And he went, exactly the same amount as Joe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So and I mean, and I'm sure they are, but it was certainly interesting that they really tried to. You're right. They weren't quite going through the front door, but they were certainly going through the side windows. That made sense. They were happy to sort of blast through the outside channels. Ringrose certainly found a bit of space, and he was really, really good. What day was it? Wednesday night. I'm losing track of the time, but they Chesham scores that first try out wide, and even the three tries were held up was out wide. It was sort of in that 12-13 channel. Low was out in the corner, obviously, but like it was just a mess. Everything looked like this try, basically. And believe it or not, there was a try at the bottom of that image that we're looking at. But that's basically what the game looked like all night. It was just red jerseys, blue and white jerseys everywhere, and a ball sometimes popped out. So, yeah. Despite that, though, it didn't take away from the game, Harry. Like it was a great game.
Oh, I'm sure it was super fun, probably for the Brumbies. I think for Lions watchers, maybe from far afield, they're a bit worried that all this time, through Argentina was, way too much rugby was played, and Argentina just picked it off. The best shapes of game were the Reds, probably the best one, where, they seeded the ball. They only had 45%, didn't try to overplay, because the problem is lost ball. It's not about whether there's enough highlight. There'll be highlights if you play this way, because Finn Russell will find people in space and they'll score, but you're going to give up 4 tries. And this is unacceptable for a Lions team playing a provincial team. How could you ever let 4 tries in? Pat, that's the worry, isn't it? That, maybe, and I'm writing a piece on this, is maybe even though it's a predominantly Irish team, probably 10 Irish guys in the starting or in the 23 for sure. Maybe they shouldn't play Irish, because Irish rugby takes so much ornate. Everyone has to be in the right spot at the right time, decoying, feinting, doing all kinds of tricks, and it's hard to do that in 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, there was an interesting one. I think I mentioned it yesterday. Like we have like Ronan O'Gara and Dan Bigger. We're kind of doing the co-commentary for Sky Sports, and it's brilliant to kind of have like almost like a recently retired player and a current coach, and they're just talking you through all the kind of like minutiae of what's happening around there. Why did somebody do this? And it's brilliant. Like, and I thought one of the interesting things was for the Hudson Creighton try, like was just to talk about what should Freeman have done there. And Dan Bigger was initially saying, Gibson Park should stand off. He shouldn't go for, Lonergan. And then I think O'Gara just cut in and goes, no, he has to hit in. He has to hit in, and you have to leave the man on the outside. And then I think Sam Warburton ended up agreeing with, they did a bit of post-match analysis and he agreed. And it was just saying that you should know that if Gibson Park is hitting in, then Ringrose is going to hit in, and Freeman should know that. But then that's the thing. He said it's like it's so hard to untrain habits. Like Freeman's trying to do the right thing, but like you should know that Ringrose is going to hit in. So it's these are the things that are kind of happening in defence and in attack then as well, where you can kind of see how good Hugh Jones and Tui Pilatu look together, and then how good Ringrose looked with Aki yesterday as well. Like, so these tiny little beats of moments and trust is what you kind of need. And they kind of seem to think that if you are going to mix it up, maybe Harry, you're right. Like maybe they should go a little bit simpler if they're going to just drop in the likes of Russell and Freeman, even into the back line as well.
Yeah, because it seems like on one-on-ones, Ellis Genge on a charge, it's not easy to put down. He seems like he's always one gain line. Bundy Aki, same thing. Yeah. The best moments for me, the line so far have been right up the middle, and then Finn plays his tricks out back, but only after you've earned it. It's rugby doctrine. So
on that, mate, sorry to jump in there. On that, Russell, I saw a clip of it on the socials today. Finn Russell did a post-match interview with O'Gara and Bigger on Sky Sports, and O'Gara actually basically set him up and basically saying, "Look, I've never seen you playing with so much confidence." And where's that coming from? Everyone thinks you're just an ad hoc player. Where's this all coming from? And he said, and he actually said he thought about it. He said, the thing about looking like an ad hoc player is it's still within our structures. So, it's like we wouldn't do certain things in certain parts of the field. So it might look like we've just made it up on the spot, but we're very deliberate in where we're playing and how we're playing. So it was interesting to hear A, O'Gara identify that, but B, hearing Finn Russell actually saying, well, yeah, like it looks that way, but there's method to the rugby madness. If you
sure, it's like the All Black kick return. People always thought of it as being wild, abandon, and artistry. No. It's almost like a set piece to them.
Yeah.
But Pat, where I'm going with that is, I think you put more Irish players on the field, but they could still play English. Because I think the English way is easier, and it works against Australia better. Because my thought pattern is Ireland's been top of the heap, but when they play against the Wallabies lately, it's a 3-point game. And why is that? And we shouldn't be surprised because of snaffling, jackling, pilfering, slowing, mucking the ruck. And it tends to be a low-scoring game. Besides the fact that it's only 3 points, it's 13-10, 60. That's weird because that's not what the Boks are able to do. It's not what French are able to do. Do you think? I think Andy Farrell is good. He's got enough agility. Do you think he could almost pull that off and say to his guys, "Hey, just go back to your roots"? Joe McCarthy, let's go.
Because it's interesting. You talk Australia seem to. They get their successes over Ireland in recent years by disrupting Ireland. So Ireland like to play the pretty patterns and the kind of inside runners and the switches and stuff like that. But Australia, if they kind of, as they did back in November, they messed up the Irish line out and they kind of denied them that kind of set play as well. And then in the past, I always remember the 2018 tour where like Hooper and Pocock just destroyed us. I think he had 6 turnovers in that first test and they won. So every time we get disrupted, we kind of seem to we short circuit as well. And then it's all about how can we stop them from stopping us play. So it gets into this kind of 4D chess almost. We want to stop them, stop us. Maybe you're right. Yeah, let someone like McCarthy off the leash. And then Conan showed a little bit of that last night where he kind of just went straight up and just started smashing into people. And he did that, I think, in was it the Reds game and the restarts as well? A couple of good restarts. So maybe go a little bit more, as you said. Yeah, England have a lot of success, and they didn't last November because that was such an amazing kind of.
But England almost played. Yeah, but England played differently that time. When they play English, they usually just kind of wipe. And so here's the question, and I think it's an interesting one. Is when they go into this sort of matchup now, which coach do you think, both of these coaches really well, which one of these coaches is actually feeling better right now?
I'd say Schmidt would have been good. I'd say, Brett, you can jump in as well. I'd say Schmidt, until they lost, Loliseo, to injury, he probably would have been thinking we're primed here. And I think the thing with Schmidt is that he's known as being so cerebral and putting so much thought into the game that it puts the willies up everyone else. They kind of think, everyone starts double thinking themselves.
Why is he so calm?
Plays it straight down the middle, and Farrell's been guilty of that in the past with Schmidt. With the the big thing for that we're still recovering from in Ireland is the World Cup quarter-final loss to the All Blacks that Schmidt was kind of the architect of, and how again our big thing was how come we didn't play we know we can play. And then the thing was, that's because the All Blacks didn't let us play that way. So that's what Schmidt is kind of known for. So, Farrell will.
It's because Schmidt knew how you were going to play.
And then it's that the big fear that Like I suspect that there might be like 8 or 9 Irish starters in this team for the first test. So it's going to be very much an Irish style, and Schmidt will be confident of kind of disrupt. But yeah, I don't know, to answer your question, I'd say Farrell might be edging it, because he does seem to know like what maybe 12 or 13 of his starters are going to be. Like Kinghorn, maybe if you can get him back in that back line or something like that. It's such a shame they haven't had a good chance to run him, but yeah, if there was a kind of a meter, maybe just tipping slightly towards Andy Farrell.
Yeah, and Andy has seemed kind of angry at times. I'm watching the Ultimate Test YouTube thing. It's very cool. He's terse, he's taciturn, he doesn't give much, that Northern England kind of style. But it seems real, like he's a little bit pissed off after every match. There's a great scene in this one I just watched where the Waratahs dressing room is right next to, the cloakroom of the Lions, and Andy's getting up there and he's talking about how shit we were and we got to get serious and all that. And you hear the Waratahs singing and there's a disco going on. And he goes, listen to them.
That's always a good motivator, isn't it? So where I was watching the game was in the ABC Sport commentary box. And on the other side, less than a meter away from me, is a very thin wall. And on the other side of that wall were the Lions coaches. So I heard a few things. They got angry. Yes, don't worry about that.
Dish it. Spill the tea.
They definitely. Well, look, there was a few different accents that I had to sort of wade through there at different times. So, but look, there was definitely times where they were, they felt like they were getting the ascendancy and not getting the calls they wanted. So there was a lot of.
Well, when you get held up 3 times, that's any team is going to hate that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So there was a lot of what's the best way of summing this up? There's a lot of, "Oh, come on, Pierre" type of inquiries.
Well, Josh Van der Fleer definitely scored. We can all agree on that. Josh got the ball down. I actually saw it very easily.
Yeah.
I always imagined TMOs had better resolution and ability to like CIA in. I'm like, why are you not seeing the ball on the ground?
Yeah, that one. Look, that one on about the 14th replay, I thought probably was a try, but then the 15th one shows that it wasn't. And then we have this whole thing about, if you're up to the 15th replay, is it really conclusive? Well, no, it's probably not. Therefore, it's no try.
I don't think any of us are happy with how this is going. When you tie yourself to the illusion of perfection on calls, in a sport like rugby. I mean, in tennis it's different because there's a line and a ball. But in this sport, it's almost ridiculous that we don't say, in the end, a ref is making calls all through the match. And the only time we stop down and make it worse is when someone scores a try, or we think they did.
Yeah.
We take the moment of celebration in our sport, and none of us are really, unless it's a run-in, we're like,
maybe. Okay, yeah. Look, I acknowledge that you think you've scored that try. Let's just
do I cheer? No,
for a minute. Yeah.
Why are we doing this, Pat? Is there a pathway where we can have the backstop of clearly ridiculous calls, but not intrude so much in the moment of joy when your team scores?
Yeah, I was thinking of 2 ways you could kind of do it. Like almost like the kickers have the shot clock. Maybe there's a TMO clock and he has 60 seconds to decide.
Cool. Yeah.
And then there's real pressure. You can see the beads of sweat as they're kind of like rolling back through tape or something.
Or maybe all we need to do is just put a live camera on the TMO and we could watch them stressing out trying to find the replay. Put them in the firing line.
Trying to get the French producers, if it's over there, to try and release the footage to them like that.
So interestingly, I was listening to. I had the referee and TMO feed in my headphones, so I was listening to that all game. And we've spoken, Harry, about coach and commentator referees, and Pierre Brosseau is neither of those two. There actually wasn't a lot of conversation through the game. There was he would utter it would be just yes or no or back, or it would be one word here and there. He really wasn't, take a step back 6 or no 7, thank you. Like there was none of that we hear from the Australian and the New Zealand guys, for example.
Even the top 14 where everyone's speaking French, they don't do a lot of the coaching. They don't say, please, s'il vous plaît, off the ball, thank you, set, whatever. They don't do that. They literally just blow, and they also
blow or don't. Yes,
they walk you back 10. They're very, they're kind of, pissy.
So between
talking back.
Pierre Brosseau and Marius van der Westhuizen up in the TMO box, there wasn't a lot of conversation going on. Like there was a couple of times where I actually wondered whether we'd lost the feed. I hadn't heard anything for 5 minutes. So, you know,
well,
there you go.
What do you think Pat told? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, did you hear much from Maro? Like, because I heard he was chasing him around a little bit. Did you hear much of over anything?
Not like not an ongoing conversation. I actually didn't hear much from Itoje much at all. I knew Ryan Lonigan's voice, so I was hearing that more than I was recognizing Itoje's voice. I'm guessing. So I could certainly hear Ryan Lonigan out there, but even that, it was like, was that this? Like, are you checking that? Yep. Okay. No. Good. Like it was actually just short and sharp, and it would have been the same for the Lions side of things as well. But there was just no conversations.
If Mara was chasing a ref around, it would have sounded like this: "Please, sir, when is a try not a try?" Like that. That's how he talks. He's sonorous. he never swears, and he doesn't get excited. He never raises his voice. I can see the referee not even hearing him. Like, whatever.
Yeah. No, and having hearing him post match, and again, I just didn't really pick up on his voice much through the game. Which is not to say that he wasn't, but it just wasn't coming. It wasn't hitting my ears and all that. But I thought it was really interesting how having had the conversations about the different refereeing styles and the ones that do like to talk you through every moment of it. There was none of that.
So on that sort of theme for me, Pat, you watch this ultimate test thing, and Maro is revving up the troops, and this is his pregame. He says, "The time for words is over. The time for words is over. No more words. You want to say something, Ellis?" And it's like, no, you just killed the room, man. No one wants to talk. So
you just literally said no more words.
I'm not dooming Mara because the Lions should sweep this. They are the prohibitive favorites. They're playing a number 8 in the world. Usually they have to come down and play the world champion. They're not doing that here. But if they do slip or lose, there's going to be a lot of questions about leadership. They're going to fall on Andy Farrell and Maro Itoje for sure. What do you think so far? What's the feeling from across the sea, the Irish Sea, looking at sort of Maro Itoje's captaincy? How's it all working? Are the Irish boys buying in, that sort of thing?
Well, yeah, there's a big kind of question there would be, because let's say even Caelan Doris is missing this tour with his shoulder injury as well, but he's also a very chilled out, nice guy. You're like kind of very kind of laid back, doesn't get too excited about things. Even when you hear him in the ref mic, he kind of he doesn't get too exasperated or angry or anything like that.
He's kind of funny, actually, Caelan Doris.
Yeah, and then you kind of look at like the Irish, what you'd call like their leadership team. It's like or their kind of pack that they would have. It's Gibson Park, it's Ringrose, Van der Fleer, Doris, and Tyke Byrne, and they're all very chilled. Nice guys. There's no maniac in the middle of that there, or like even like O'Mahony has stepped away. Like so, he was the last. Like I remember even like on I think it was the 2017 tour, like watching the documentary of that, and he's like telling this jersey has to mean something to you, like, and he's giving it socks, and like there's different type of captaincy, but I think there was always that suspicion, is like, especially with Leinster having so much of the Irish team, that are they too nice? I remember even Scott Fardy used to talk about like these boys are all born in the same area of, they've never been to the north of Dublin even, like, like they're all Donnybrook
boys.
They've never crossed the Liffey, like, so, and like Fardy is a guy who kind of did a bit of mining, like, back in the day, and he's kind of he saw these lads, and it's like
he's done everything.
So there's this big question, it's like, are they tough enough? Can they get over the line? It's been questioned in the Champions Cup, it's been questioned then in the World Cup as well, and then all of a sudden it's the same bulk of players are your Lions players then as well. And then you have somebody again like Maro, who hasn't captained for so many years. He was always like earmarked as a future captain, and now he's kind of had to wait until he's maybe early 30s to finally get the honor. Like, so why was he not chosen in the past? And maybe it's because he's a bit soft spoken as well, doesn't kind of really take tump the tables or anything like that. So, and then the thing that it's all backed up with, Owen Farrell comes in, like, and there's all this talk of like, is he in for leadership? All his former teammates are saying he's going to like demand higher standards in training as well. So it's all kind of added to this narrative, is that like, are the Lions a little bit too nicey, like,
is that why he picked it? Why did he parachute Owen and not a fullback?
So I heard an interesting conversation around that, around this whole idea of Farrell will come in and lift stands and all that. And they came to the question to say, well, hang on, if you need your standards lifted in the first week of the tour, what on earth's going on? And then equally, what's it say about Farrell Senior, the coach, that he needs someone to come in and lift standards? Like, why are you not setting that as the coach? Like, it's interesting that there's this idea that Owen Farrell can come into a Lions squad onto a Lions tour a week afterwards and suddenly have an impact and change the way they approach things. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I was just thinking of the film with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, Daddy's Home, like where like he's and he just rocks down the escalator, like, and kind of here's the new guy kind of ready to kind of talk shit to people as well. And like the funny thing is that Johnny Sexton has apparently been running definitely when they were in Portugal. He got in and started running lines with them as well. And Sexton is a guy who doesn't take people taking shortcuts as well. Like so Sexton's there. Like you can imagine he's probably been given license to let rip at people if he doesn't think something's up to standard as well. Yeah, another guy you think is very chilled is Finn Russell then as well. Who's to kind of, so if you have Russell and Gibson Park, yeah, it's all very kind of like vanilla in terms of kind of like who's got the edge and who's kind of telling you. Like it has been funny watching the Ultimate Test there. Like it's all kind of, even Farrell's speeches.
Good series.
Like you hear so much about him as being this inspirational leader, but like he just does seem to, if he wants to emphasize something, he just repeats it.
Yeah,
but like
a PowerPoint behind him. Yeah.
I haven't been blown away with him yet, but like maybe I'm not seeing it all. But like the players who are in the squad just seem to love him. Like, but there is a thought of are there too many kind of guys in there that don't take ownership of stuff themselves and call people out?
So just on that, I had a quiet beer post all the post match things with a couple of your Irish colleagues. In fact, Murray Kinsler and Jerry Thornley and all that. That was in an undisclosed part of Canberra Stadium. And the guys were actually saying that there was a question asked of Itoje around them taking their first penalty goal of the tour, and the question was pretty clear. It was like, what was the thinking at that point? Because it was, what was it, early, maybe 50 minutes, somewhere around about there. It was like, it was a good way out. What was the thinking there? What were you, why the sudden change and all that? And he basically sort of said, oh, well, look, there's a process around this sort of thing, and we just sort of have a bit of a conversation, and the process makes a decision. And the Irish guy and Murray and Cole going, yeah, but what's the decision? Like explain them. Like they just at that was the invitation to sort of say, well, this is what we were thinking, and go 15 points ahead, and you just went, no, well, the process leads to the decision. It was like,
Mara's very posh, and he's also very philosophical, and he's well read. I actually think that the Lions, when they've won, and it's super important for the Lions to win, because if they keep losing or not winning a series, it becomes more and easier to write them off. They have to win this. It's important, and nothing will matter if they look back unless they won or lost the series. Yeah. That's it. When I watched it, I always think the ones they win, they had high bastard percentage of pack. That's when the Lions win, right?
Yeah.
And you can bring out the inner bastard of a guy like Dan Sheehan if you have the right captaincy, because Dan's got a bit of bastard in him. And when he gave his pre, it was fecking this and fecking that. There was almost, they had to bleep everything out. It literally, Dan didn't say anything. It was like, and go. That's what you heard. And people were liking it. They were grooving. And the Kiwis are fiery. Like a guy like James Lowe and Bundy Aki, they rev it up, and they like to do the banter and the sledge. I almost think they got to find something along those lines, or it's going to be all about technique, precision, and skill, which is fine. But we all know that there's that little 2%, 3% that just comes from belly of the beast, run through a wall, manic aggression.
Yeah, but see, when you start your speech with there's no more time for words. Well, nothing rings after that.
It was like The Office. I thought, no, don't say that. No more words. Yeah, that's what you want to say, Elliot.
It was like The Office. Right. So I'm super conscious of time for both of you guys for today. So let me fire some questions at you. How many answers do you think the Brumbies and even the Waratahs have given Joe Schmidt about slowing the Lions down in the last 5 days?
I think he already knew. Oh, I think he already knew it, but
Yeah.
it gave a template for where in the phases to use it. The timing, I thought Charlie Gamble maybe cracked the code even better than anyone else. So if you just sort of bring Gamble into the camp and just say, you're not a Wallaby, but tell us how to do it.
We're not giving you any training kit, but we need to ask you some questions. What about on the line side of things? Who has probably genuinely won a test spot suddenly that maybe wasn't being thought of as a test line initially? And Conan's probably an obvious question. We've had a chat about that, Pat. But what do you think? Are they guys that are absolutely in the frame now for Brisbane who maybe weren't 2 weeks ago? Yeah,
I think the big one is Joe McCarthy. Like who kind of like for me, like McCarthy is like when he's good, he's amazing. Like, and he showed that there in wasn't it the Western Force game where he got man of the match and he even looked good the other night as well. Like he is just your big enforcer kind of that everybody kind of wants him to be. But I suppose from an Irish perspective, we sometimes see him doing something stupid every now and then. Like, you know, like so. Like against France, he kind of gave away. He got carded and gave away like he just yanked some lad back that he didn't need to, like pulled him back by the collar, and like so he's capable of doing something every now and then like that where you're kind of just like you didn't have to do that. Like so, I don't think he would have went into the tour as like he's going to be my starter. I think everybody thought it was going to be Itoje and Tyke Byrne. McCarthy has then kind of played himself into the picture. Like so, he looks almost certain to start the Test series. He definitely would have been one. And then who else have we got? Yeah, like
Ollie Chesham as well. Both.
Yeah, Chesham was the one I was going to mention too.
Both of the least capped locks coming into the tour, and now they're in the picture.
Yeah. Chesham. Even like Chesham seems to kind of be now ahead of Byrne, and then Byrne is almost like he's like it's only been going 4 years, but like twice he was voted in the kind of like World Rugby Team of the Year at lock, and he's got like so much respect from his peers, as well. Like, but he kind of that game where Ben O'Keefe was reffing, and he's the ref for like the first test as well, where like the breakdown you just couldn't go contest, like, you know, so all of a sudden him and Pollock were getting pinged every couple of minutes, like, and maybe that kind of went against him then as well, like where his big threat is that he's a lock that can go in and poach the ball as well, because he's got that kind of flanker in him as well, like so he seems to now he's like almost like the midweek captain, like, you know, and so Chesham, but Chesham's been great, like, and I thought even his defense has been so strong. Every now and then you just need a brick wall, don't you, in defense that somebody bounces off and goes backwards, and he seems to be good for that. But I was listening to a bit of James Haskell on their like Good, Bad and Rugby podcast, and he was talking about, you know, it doesn't matter what number you have in your back, but he was kind of saying like if you're going to have a Chesham at 6, that means your blind side doesn't make your first carry then, like, if you need him in the line out. Like, so there's things that you're going to take away by kind of having something like that. But those two. And then, just the big one is just who is going to, I don't think anybody can confidently predict who's going to start in the centres then as well, because it's such a kind of a tight race. Like, it's maybe edging towards the Irish, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like after the Brumbies game in particular, there was a lot of momentum maybe behind Hugh Jones, but that was the night that Ringrose just went, no, I've got this covered now, and it just feels like it'll be Archie and Ringrose.
But on defense, Ringrose hurts people, man. He's been doing that for 2 years now under the Nienaber defense, and he just comes up and smacks people. Yeah, I think Ringrose can do more of what Hugh does, but Hugh cannot do all that Ringrose does. And I think Aki is the same way with Tuipulotu. I think there's enough distribution about Aki, but I don't know if Sione can really dent the line like Bundy, just on a size basis.
That's fair. Is fullback the one area of definite concern?
We're back to Hugo.
There's an interesting thing as we're chatting there. There's I just got an update from the IRFU. And it says Jamie Osborne's being called up for the Lions.
Really?
Which must mean Kinghorn is carrying something then. Like, so it must mean Kinghorn's scan isn't going well. So, but and that kind of leads into that then. I'll let you digest that as I talk about Hugo Keenan. So Osborne is en route to Australia? Yeah, it says... right. So he was named in the Ireland team. He's going to start with Stuart McCloskey against... Like, this is so funny. He's going to start against Portugal at the weekend, and now he's heading to Australia, like, to kind of go on the Lions tour. So
right.
So and he's a guy who again can cover 15. He's a bit like Elliot Daly in a way, like, and even played a bit of out half, for his club Nace. Played a bit of underage for Ireland, kind of in when he was like a teenager in that position as well. Like so, and he's a guy a lot of people thought maybe might have made it ahead of Elliot Daly, which kind of Daly then did brilliantly for himself. But so that's interesting. Now I don't know whether there's any kind of news of Kinghorn being gone, but Farrell was trying to say it's not as bad as they thought.
Yeah, he was certainly trying to. He wavered post match between. We're not 100% sure yet. We've got to get scans to. We don't think it's as bad as we first suspect. So I sort of thought when I heard that, I thought those two statements can't coexist. They're seemingly mutually exclusive. So there's no hint that Kinghorn's been ruled out yet. So Osborne just might be coming in as an extra body.
Yeah, like, and it makes me feel I was actually saying, I think I did a story last summer for Rugby Pass where I predicted that there might be as many as 20 Irish players in the Lions squad. I think we're up to 17 now, so I'm getting closer, injury by injury.
But you wouldn't want to be whatever that player is, whatever player 37, whoever's getting shipped in, flown in, jetted in. Like you always get hurt.
So Owen Farrell has been named on the bench for the AUNZ game on Saturday night. He will be player number 40 for the tour. So they've used 39 already. So on that game, how useful is that AUNZ game going to be for the Lions, and then Harry for the Wallabies even?
Yeah, I think so. Well, for the Lions for sure, because you're still looking at bench and who you finish the game with. So that gets into Jack Morgan, that gets into players like
Mitchell, Marcus Smith have played the last three off the bench.
You're straight up Ben versus Alex. Most coaches nowadays, when you really quiz them, they say they pick who they want on the final 30 minutes before they pick the starting. The starting is almost the easy part. It's almost easy to know what that is, but you've got to get your amalgamation. You've got to get your time. You've got to get your flow, if this, if that, contingencies. The Lions need that because they haven't been starting very well. So they're going to have to finish gangbusters. And so I think that gets into decisions about 6-2, decisions about what type of lock blind side, loose forward. Who's the loose forward that can do all? If you're going to have a Henry Pollock because you want to stretch, then you're going to have a different kind of forward as well. So I think this game is good for that because it's a proper team they face. I know it's a scratch team, but it's got talent out the wazoo. And you got Pete Samu running against you. You've got, really serious operators. They're going to want to make
Shannon Frizzell as well. Yeah.
That's a bruising loose forward trio. So, I'm looking forward to it. On the other side, I think people like Tane Edmed could get into the picture of the squad. I think Pete Samu could do a barnstormer and say, you got to put me in there, coach, because, there's going to be a couple of injuries every week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really fair.
The 10 thing is going to be so interesting, isn't it? Like I even saw, I don't know whether it was planned or whether these guys gave their mates a nudge, but like Bernard Foley and James O'Connor were both on different podcasts this week, just as kind of this industry, it's putting yourself in the shop window, and so it'd be an honor to kind of get a call up. But did they go with one of the Super Rugby guys, or did they fly over an O'Connor or ship in a Foley or something like that? Like it'd be very interesting to see, won't it? What are you guys thinking, Donaldson or Edmeds?
I think it'll be Donaldson now. Yeah. There's still a few question marks about how fit Tom Liner is. He hasn't played rugby for.
That'd be a tough.
He missed the qualifying final in Super Rugby, or he went down the qualifying final. It might have been. So he hasn't played rugby for nearly 5 weeks, I reckon. Didn't play the Queensland game. So Donaldson has to start now. Whether Tane can do enough in Adelaide to come into the reckoning, I don't think we'll see Bernard Foley through this series. If there is another injury, maybe that opens the door for O'Connor. And I think that there's a little bit of there's a bit of begrudging acceptance almost that they could wear picking O'Connor from New Zealand, but I don't think they'll bring Foley in.
Schmidt's always been a systems guy, and he likes you to know deeply and be able to stand up and allocate to the whole team what you want to do. And Tane's been in that squad since the autumn.
Doing that,
and that will play in his favor. The other thing on Ben and Donaldson I'll say is, don't get fooled by Super Rugby form, which wasn't that great for Ben anyway. In the Rugby World Cup, where he did get to drive the ship, he was really bad at getting the ball through hands to the third receiver. You want to get it to Joseph and to Len Ikitau. Ben's not your man. He has tunnel vision. And Tane, for all of his faults, he will distribute. So I could see him coming into the factor. Maybe not in the first game, but I'm thinking Tane might still feature here. The thing on James O'Connor is you can trust him. And coaches are big on that is come out from nowhere. At least he's going to take the kick and probably make it.
The thing about O'Connor, and I was reminded of this this week. I saw a post that just sort of one of those posts that hits you between the eyes. And what a lot of the narrative around bring O'Connor into the Wallabies squad forgets is that his form for the Crusaders is based on playing 10 minutes a week. Yeah. But he will kick that goal at the end. That's true. How far, Pat, off the first test team was what we saw in Canberra on Wednesday night for the Lions, do you think? Who comes into that side that maybe didn't start?
So and this gives me a chance to kind of cover my tracks here because I didn't talk about Keenan. I think Keenan then now comes in and really unlucky, to first of all have a calf injury, missed the end of the URC season, and then come in and then gets sick. And Andy Farrell very descriptive in telling us that he threw up his dinner in front of everybody, and then apparently wanted to play. Wanted to play the next game, against the Waratahs, and kind of, and then he just had that kind of highlight reel moment where, it's horrible sometimes for fullbacks where you're the last man and you don't make your tackle, and kind of it's like being a goalie, isn't it? Sometimes you can have a great game, but you make one kind of thing and it costs you, So he would have been so eager to kind of get out there, but it's we've gone from a position where all of a sudden Elliot Daly, Marcus Smith, Keenan were all kind of fighting for the 15 jersey. So now it looks like some guys is going to inherit it, because I don't think Marcus.
It feels like Keenan just has to stay upright this week, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what was it? Yeah, give him 20 minutes, get him off, bubble wrap him. But yeah, he is a brilliant player. Again, maybe I have my own kind of Irish bias. I think I would have had him in the in the Lions team going into the tour as well, but then he just hadn't kind of backed it up on the pitch yet. But very athletic kind of player. He's the kind of guy that you can also even sometimes play 14 men in the line and he'll cover all the options for you. He's that quick getting around the back.
He's super quick. Yeah.
He's got
really good.
He's got the Bronco record in Ireland. So he's a guy you can just kind of motor about the place. Former Sevens player as well. He still needs a good game. He needs to kind of get out there and get in at least an hour because you saw Marcus Smith great in attack, but then look at that try there conceded last night where he just it was almost
he's so confused.
It was almost like a what happens next moment where all of a sudden you pause it and you're why is he 10 yards?
He actually it was actually quite similar to Tommy Freeman when Hudson Crichton ran past him. Tommy Freeman had that moment of who am I supposed to take here? Do I go in or out? Do you want me to get beaten on the inside or the outside? So, Marcus Smith was a bit deer in the headlights there as well.
Keenan, I'm just trying to think. Anyone else? And then Stewart has a chance, but I think Furlong has got back in ahead of him, and they'd be more confident starting Furlong.
I agree. Yeah.
But Van der Fleer ahead of Morgan.
I think so. But again, I kind of think it's maybe I've seen more of Van der Fleer. I know what he's capable of doing. I have seen a good bit of Morgan, but I kind of think a lot of decisions are going to be made where Farrell, if it's kind of a toss of the coin, he'll be if I'm starting Conan, I'm going to start Van der Fleer beside him as well, rather than have three lads that don't know each other in the back row. So some of those familiarity things might go in his favor. But again, Morgan could go out again. They're if he knows that they're struggling at the breakdown, Morgan, he could go out and kind of get 3 or 4 turnovers tomorrow and or not tomorrow against the AUNZ team and really kind of send a message so. But I think Van der Fleer again edging it at the moment.
I kind of fancy Morgan as the utility sub, because he can just play anywhere and he can play 6, 7, 8, which is great.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of love for Pollock doing that job though too, at the moment.
Well, I think they seem to think that if Chesham starts at number 6, then that you can play 2 back rows. Then, like as on your bench, so you could have you could have a Morgan and a Pollock, or you could have a Van der Fleer and a Pollock. Then,
the Chesham selection is the driver. So once you go Chesham, then you've got to go Josh probably, because then you have Josh Conan operating in tandem, and Chesham, just doing what he does, which is hit everything that moves, and then play games on the bench.
And that's what they did against the Brumbies. They had on the bench was Van der Fleer and Pollock.
Yeah. Again, could easily be that as well. Yeah,
could be done. Could be. And look, Van der Fleer has definitely had impact. So maybe you could actually start Morgan. Have the little. I wonder if there is this deep down feeling of, gee, it'd be rough to leave the lone Welshman out, wouldn't it? Like, I wonder if there's a feeling of like we really should try and include everyone.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like Leinster have done that. They've started like Will Connors as, like, I remember they went away to La Rochelle where they kind of still had the monkey on their back that they hadn't beaten them. And they went away to La Rochelle and Connors came on and was brilliant. And I think he just played 45, 50 minutes, just tackled, like just chopped everybody at the ankles and kind of was in there as a kind of like a jackal threat and kind of brilliant around the breakdown. And then Van der Fleer came on for the final 30, 40 minutes. So, it's an option. Like, again, I think people might be getting upset if like Morgan or Van der Fleer don't start, but I think they're almost going to share that jersey for like 50 minutes for one, 30 minutes for another. Like, yeah.
I think you're right. Mate, this has been a really, really good chat. I know we're quickly getting on in time. Really, really appreciate your time, appreciate your insights. It's great to catch up again as well. We will undoubtedly talk again before the year's out. We appreciate your time as always.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having us.
See you soon, man.
It's really, really good to have Pat McCarry back on the 8-9. That was a really good chat. I love that. And breaking news in the middle of it.
Yeah, really good man. We are fortunate to meet so many people in rugby and behind the scenes, and you can really tell who's who and what's what. Pat's just gold. He's just a heart of gold.
Loved it. Loved having him on. And by all means, if you are one of our many, many, many Irish listeners, check out Soldier Field when it comes back on. Later in the year. It's a great show. We will be back with the weekend post-mortem, which is another big weekend of international rugby and a return of sorts of the ANZAC 15 from 1989, the AUNZ Invitational side, hosting the Lions in Adelaide on Saturday night. Very much looking forward to that. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next edition of the 8-9 Tap and Go, properly exclusive on the 8-9 YouTube. Out next Tuesday. It's short, it's sharp, it's completely unscripted. We're kind of working out what we're doing with it. I think we've found a groove that worked for it. It's
a rhythm. It's a 1-2-1. It's a 3-step, 2-step. It's a waltz.
It's rugby haiku. Yeah. So yes. So keep an eye out for that. Next week it's a start of a very, very big week for the 8-9 combo. As we enter the first test week, as I get ready to head to Brisbane, mate. I'm looking forward to that.
Test week. Wow.
Yes, indeed. So games of the week then. There's a bucket load of test rugby going on. And once again, that graphic does not do justice to it all. Fiji are hosting Scotland in Suva. Japan playing Wales in Kobe. New Zealand playing France in Wellington. Obviously, the AUNZ Invitational side playing the Lions in Adelaide, South Africa playing Italy in Quebec. No, I've buggered that up. The artist formerly known as... I've been practicing that for 24 hours.
Get your click on. Don't forget the under-20s, guys. There was a brilliant match, so watch it back, Aussies. It was it was the match of the tournament so far.
It's a bit of a heartbreaker.
Yes, but England versus Australia. England is highly favored, and Australia took them to the brink. And England was playing for all the nuts because it was for semi-final qualification. You will be impressed by some of the attacking play by the Aussies. There's some real talent coming up in the juniors.
Yeah, which is great to see. Portugal hosting Ireland, as Pat mentioned, and Argentina, England in San Juan as well. So some good games. What games do you like elsewhere across the weekend?
Listen, I'm gonna watch with a tear in my eye. Willie LaRue go and get his 100th. You never really know. It looks like he's done. Afalale Fassi and Damien Willems are so good at 15. Even Sasha can pull back there. So it just feels like he's, redundant probably. Yeah. So if that's true, I want to see him put on the razzle dazzle one more time, throw some speculators.
Just for posterity.
Some flat, not so flat, kind of flat passes. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I'll be keen to see what sort of reaction Scott Robertson gets out of the All Blacks. We talked about last weekend. It'll be
terrible.
They could just really give it to France this weekend. Yeah. Anything else that we need to add? There's no more Harry Index here. We've lost this little spot in the podcast.
No need for it. Yeah, no need for it right now. We're doing Test Rugby, which has its own index. Everyone actually plays each other. So let's go.
Yes,
except for the French taking their C team. But then again, their C team was pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. That then is another great episode of the 8-9 Combo behind us. Our sincere thanks to Pat McCarry for joining us. Tell us what you think by following the 8-9 on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on YouTube as well, and Harry and I on the socials in our usual places as well. This is the 8-9 Combo, the short side set piece combination you didn't realize you needed in a rugby podcast. Sean Maloney is locked and loaded in the closer. I'm Brett McKay. He's Harry Jones, and we will be back in your ears in just a few days' time with the next Lions Tour edition of the Weekend Post-Mortem.
Come Lions with us.
Here goes Jones with another bruising run. He links up with McKay, who pops back to Jones. They can't. They won't. They will. What a try. The Dream Team Combo go in again.